human beings be able to activate their 12-stranded DNA at the age of 33. You take your entire body with you and you can reappear on a different space-time location. Your 10th, 11th, 12-stranded DNA is your avatar inner Christos self. Therefore, Jesus said, you will do even greater things than me.
According to Dr. Samuel Lee, unlocking and activating higher strands of your DNA can enable you to regain abilities that you have always had a right to, like telepathy and bilocation.
So you start regaining your higher sensory perception, and some of you probably are already experiencing these things, such as telepathy. It's not an accident, it's a science of source why telepathy can occur. Once you start activating your upper stranded DNA, there is no space or time at a certain dimension, and you can communicate without words through frequency.
He believes these higher strands link to different aspects of your spiritual essence and can enable you to access more than our 3 dimensions. But how do you achieve that? Human DNA, as scientifically recognized, is a double helix structure, which means it has 2 strands that twist around each other, resembling a twisted ladder. This structure was discovered by James Watson and Francis Crick in the 1950s. This double helix carries your genetic information that makes up the chromosomes in every cell of your body. But according to Dr. Lee, there is more to explore.
And the potential DNA that scientists used to call junk DNA, 90% of most people don't even know. And they're walking around in a 3D matrix. And because scientists were only looking at what they can see, double-stranded helix proteins, atoms, but it's what you do not see.
The idea of 12-stranded DNA is more in the spiritual or metaphysical realm. The belief that beyond the double helix DNA there are additional etheric strands of DNA that contribute to a higher state of consciousness and spiritual abilities.
Your 4th, 5th, and 6th-stranded DNA is your soul, a carbon crystalline, less dense version of you existing right now. Your 7th, 8th, 9th-stranded DNA is your oversoul, a pure crystalline version of you existing right now. Your 10th, 11th, 12th-stranded DNA is your avatar inner Christos self.
In his podcast, Dr. Lee quotes the Bible, John 14:12. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I'm going to the Father. The Christian Bible talks about spiritual DNA, which refers to the divine qualities you have inherited from God. These qualities would include the ability to differentiate good from evil, the capacity to love and forgive, and the ability to recognize truth. This inheritance connects all humans and emphasizes the importance of spiritual growth and unity. Regardless of your religious beliefs, Dr. Lee is implying that there is a better, more superior version of you inside of you. And when you unlock these upper DNA strands and access this superior self, you will be able to do incredible things with it. This idea transcends geographical and linguistic boundaries. Even Hindu texts talk about accessing a higher level of consciousness through DNA activation.
This is one of the important revelation in the Sannyas Upanishads. There's a very clear mention. If one person takes sannyas and elevates his consciousness, sannyas is nothing but awakening the different layers of your DNA.
Essentially, there is more to our DNA than we think, and it has been written about since time immemorial. The entrant potential DNA was once dismissed as junk, either by mistake or malice, but there is a lot more to it than we can even imagine. According to Dr. Samuel Lee, originally, eternal celestial human beings were destined to activate their 12-stranded DNA by age 33. These ancient, more advanced beings imparted their knowledge, genetic material, and spiritual wisdom to early humans, either through direct interaction or by influencing our culture. But over time, this knowledge became heavily distorted. He says that as we reached the 3rd generation of our celestial human tribe, we evolved into 12 original tribes, which became the model for the biblical tribes. These are either the 12 tribes of Israel or the 12 apostles.
And one of my missions is to reunite the 12 original celestial human tribes, because once you start activating your upper stranded DNA, you start remembering.
With each activated strand, a cellular memory awakens, helping you recall your true essence. And as these higher strands activate, you begin to regain natural abilities inherent to every human.
So you start regaining your higher sensory perception. And some of you probably are already experiencing these things, such as telepathy. You know, it's not an accident, it's a science of source why telepathy can occur. once you start activating your upper stranded DNA, there is no space or time at a certain dimension. And you can communicate without words, right? Through frequency. And this is our natural God-given birthright.
Telepathy becomes possible because, in the realm of activated DNA, traditional limits like space and time dissolve, allowing communication through pure frequency. And knowing you have this ability has never been more important. In the next 10 to 15 years, some people might opt for artificial enhancers, like Elon Musk's Neuralink chip. But even those chips wouldn't be able to match what you can achieve yourself should you manage to unlock your 12-stranded DNA. Once activated, these strands allow feats like telepathy and bilocation, transferring your consciousness across time and space, retrieving and integrating source codes along the way. But this information has existed since forever. Even the Sannyas Upanishads, SELF-HYPNOSIS, mentioned have existed since before the 3rd century CE. If this knowledge has existed for so long, why have we not already tapped into this power? Simply because we are being denied access. The world has been curated with abundant distractions that force us to lose our paths, both mentally and physically. From mega cities to small towns, we are obsessed with consumerism and constant connectivity. Our attention is fragmented between texts, notifications, ads, and influencers. This relentless noise makes it challenging to nurture the quiet, reflective state necessary to unlock your true potential. The original human being had 12 strands of DNA actively working to ensure the mental, physical, and spiritual processes at full capacity. But with our over-obsession with left-brain thinking, which is more analytical and craves tangible proof, and the shutting down of our heart centers, we have lost the additional 10 strands of our DNA. According to SELF-HYPNOSIS, however, some people do manage to break that barrier and embrace their true potential, but they are not allowed to thrive for long.
Children born throughout the history of humanity to raise the frequency of the planet that have more than 2 strands of active DNA. They are called Indigo Children. Fortunately, after the 60s and 70s, the 60 rebels and 70 hippies, most of them were Indigo Children. Please understand. Unfortunately, the society is so cunning, so, frozen, unable to accommodate them, labeled them as negative and pushed them aside.
We are afraid of the unconventional, fearful of those who have freed themselves from daily distractions and materialism, and things we do not understand we ridicule or cast aside. And it all comes back to energy blockage, which plays a key role in many spiritual traditions. These blockages disrupt the flow of life energy, which is Qi in China and Prana in India. Factors like poor lifestyle choices, environmental toxins, and stress contribute to these blockages, stifling our energetic pathways. When our energetic pathways are stifled, we believe in our own potential less. We become more self-critical, more self-judgmental. We establish barriers in our own path, essentially becoming our own worst enemy. This hatred of the self is only encouraged by modern distractions. You are bombarded with stories of things you don't have and places you haven't visited. We also know that practicing meditation and prayer can enhance inner well-being, but with the modern world's focus on productivity and financial success, these activities have been sidelined in favor of constant hustling. For those who still perform some version of spirituality, the intentions are mostly misplaced. We pray to either show others that we're spiritually superior to them, or we pray for money and success, or we just pray in the wrong way.
You're not praying to something outside of you. The Holy Spirit is within you. And it changes the entire act of worship, because it's when you pray, you're praying not as a beggar, please help me, please give me, please. No, it's like I give gratitude. You're praying to something that is within you, and you pray like a lover, not a beggar.
Your process and the purity of your intention matter, as does your emotional and psychological health. Unresolved trauma, suppressed emotions, and unaddressed mental health issues all create more barriers to true growth. The field associated with this theory is called epigenetics. Epigenetics looks into how our surroundings can affect our genes. It doesn't change the DNA sequence itself, but it does alter how our body reads and uses that DNA. Think of it like a painting in a gallery. The painting remains the same through time, but two different people with two life experiences, educational backgrounds, and opinions will register and react to the painting differently. Big shocks or traumas from early life can twist how your body functions without rewriting your DNA. Your environment and upbringing determine how your body processes everything from food and alcohol to hurtful comments and sexual habits. Moshe Ziv, a geneticist, explained the parameters.
So what we suggest is perhaps what happens early in life. Those signals that come through the mother tell the child what kind of social world you're going to be living in. It's going to be harsh, and you better be anxious and be stressful, or it's going to be an easy world, and you have to be different. Is it going to be a world with a lot of light or little light? Is it going to be a world with a lot of food or little food?
The answers to these questions have a profound impact on how we can shake off these blockages and unlock our 12-strand DNA. If you've grown up with limitations and been forced to adapt, your mind and body will always be in survival mode, unable to accept anything that doesn't relate to immediate survival. If you've grown up with an abundance mindset, where most of your needs were taken care of, you have a freer approach to life. Epigenetics shows us that our life experiences keep rewriting our DNA story, changing how we interact with the world. Even though we might try to push down or ignore these painful memories, latest research indicates that the effects of trauma go beyond just the person who experienced it and can be passed on to the next generations. And there is no better example of this than the Dutch famine study, as explained by Dr. Oded Richavi, a professor of neurobiology at Tel Aviv University.
In the Second World War, the Nazis starved large populations in the Netherlands. And people studied their many descendants, the descendants of the individuals that were starved. And they saw that although there are no changes to their DNA as a result of the starvation, because this can't happen, the descendants suffer more from diabetes and from other neurological diseases such as schizophrenia.
Simply put, traumas in your lifetime or your ancestors' lifetime can have lasting impacts on gene expression and health outcomes for future generations. These issues anchor us to lower vibrational states affecting us and the people around us, making it hard for us to access the heightened levels of consciousness associated with additional DNA strands. But the opposite is also true. So, for instance, if someone chooses to live a monastic life and elevates their consciousness through higher order spiritual activities, this heightened state can affect not just them, but also their descendants. When you're enlightened, open and free from the constraints of modern society, you influence and heal people before you, after you, and around you. These include your parents, your children, your cousins, and any family member that comes into contact with you.
All the people from the family I am born and brought up, all of the family, whether my brothers or my cousin sisters and all of them, the whole family is naturally now thoroughly impacted by me. So naturally all their consciousness will carry the idea of me.
He goes on to explain that working on his higher consciousness and unlocking his 12-strand DNA influenced the rest of his family as well. His uncle's children want to be like him. They will often dress like him or steal his slippers to wear. It's clear they see something good, something enlightened and free, and wish to emulate it. And you can be the higher being in your family who unlocks this potential and positively impacts your lineage. But in addition to healing generations after you, unlocking your 12-stranded DNA also transforms your daily habits in a profound way. For one, your avatar, this higher consciousness, will start to work for you.
Once you actually embody your 12-stranded DNA, there's a frequency you reach where your higher self, avatar, crystal self, will go to work for you to start your processes of self-actualization. Doesn't mean you still chop wood, carry water, but at the same time, I couldn't f it up even if I wanted to, because your 12-stranded DNA, avatar, crystal self has gone to work for you.
Your higher self starts working on your behalf, subtly influencing your daily routines and decisions. It doesn't save you from still conducting menial tasks like brushing your teeth, going to work, or cooking food, but it does align you closer with your true purpose and potential without you having to overthink it. Think of it like this. People who are already talented at drawing can whip up a sketch without overthinking the smallest pencil strokes. Someone new to drawing would take longer and be more deliberate with their movements. They would overthink their lines, constantly erase their work to start again, and generally be unhappy with the final result. Unlocking your 12-stranded DNA gets rid of the self-doubt and the hesitation. With your higher self engaged, intuition becomes a stronger guiding force. It comes more naturally to you, essentially allowing you to navigate through the toughest times on autopilot, because you already know how to handle it. You might even find yourself developing a form of foresight, giving you a sense of upcoming challenges and opportunities. Armed with that, you can plot your actions and anticipate outcomes accordingly, making you a force to be revoked with.
So your higher self, when you start activating your upper stranded DNA, has access to information, and it can see future potentials. It can guide you through your intuitive, direct, cognitive, cellular knowing. You will just know if there's a crisis about to happen, if World War III is about to happen, if there's a future potential that's about to happen.
When you begin to activate your 12-stranded DNA, you are opened up to information that transcends time and space. So while your day-to-day activities look the same, chopping wood and carrying water, as Dr. Samuel Lee puts it, the quality and intention behind each action change. You're more present and mindful, and even routine tasks are infused with a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. But aside from mental and spiritual benefits, your physical body also undergoes a major transformation. As you activate higher DNA strands, your body's vibration starts to elevate. You will feel more energetic, lighter, and more vibrant, leading to a process of healing. And higher vibrations in the body enhance cellular function, potentially slowing down disease and physical decay. This concept stems from the understanding that human cells, like any physical system, have natural frequencies at which they operate best. When cells resonate at these frequencies, they can absorb more energy and function optimally. Scientific research has explored this idea through mechanical vibrations and electromagnetic fields. With mechanical vibrations, certain frequencies have been found to stimulate osteoblasts, cells responsible for bone formation, helping in bone health and repair. With electromagnetic fields, research showed that specific frequencies can positively influence cellular activities. This includes potential therapeutic applications like reducing inflammation in tissues. By aligning cellular activities with their natural resonant frequencies, your overall health and longevity of cells can be improved, leading to healthier bodily functions and reduced aging effects.
Because higher oscillation entrains lower vibration. Your emotional body is your D2, dimension 2 body. Your physical body is your D1, elemental body. And so as the frequencies from 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, it's going to start integrating your oversoul and then your soul and your ego, which is part of the D3 mind, right? It's going to naturally start healing any type of karma.
Here, Dr. Lee is talking about the different dimensions of the self. Your emotional body is dimension 2, while your physical body is dimension 1. As you tap into higher DNA strands, you embrace more dimensions, ultimately achieving enlightenment when you reach the 12th dimension and meet your higher self, or as Dr. Lee calls it, the Oversoul. This integration can begin to heal old emotional wounds and heal the frequencies of past actions that you are carrying from past lives and past experiences. By activating your DNA, you start to clear these karmic debts, healing trauma that has embedded itself in your physical and emotional body over lifetimes. This process is like hitting a reset button, allowing you to start fresh, unburdened by past pains and patterns. And when you achieve this, you will need nothing else. As Dr. Lee puts it,
that you are who you've been looking for. You don't need a middleman, a guru, a religion that takes 10% of everything you earn. God is in you, with you, for you, through you, all around you.
So, how can you shake off these obstacles, overcome the mental and spiritual blocks, and meet the Oversoul? Dr. Lee reveals this in a follow-up episode.
Don't fight the system, create a new one. What we fight, we become. What we judge becomes a shadow. What we resist persists. So instead of fighting, right, using our energy to fight this system, we shift our focus and our attention and our intention on a new earth.
The best way to focus on your inner self and actually unlock your upper DNA strands is to clarify that intention and set it in your mind. Are you doing this for personal growth, healing, spiritual development, or simply understanding your life's purpose? Whatever the intention, make it central to all your efforts. The more focused you are, the better this will work. Be blind to distractions, expectations, and influence, and zero in on what matters most to you. Respect and honor your physical body and mental abilities. and you will go far. Before you dive into any new spiritual practice, whether it's prayer, meditation, or yoga, set aside a sacred space meant only for these activities. This space must remain untouched for any other purpose, and as you dive into your practice, invoke your higher self.
And then also we start daily, most importantly, tuning in and communicating with our higher self, direct connection to source. There is nothing outside of you you need. Everything you need is inside of you.
A simple invocation could be, I ask that only the highest and most benevolent energies assist me in this journey. Speaking this out loud aligns your mind and body, grounding you in the present and reaffirming your intention. Doing this unlocks powers beyond belief. When we look back into history, we see that humans have the potential not just for 12, but for even 48 DNA strands. According to Dr. Lee, some 950 billion years ago, the initial eternal celestial human beings, who are considered a master race, were endowed with the potential for 12 to 48 strands of DNA. This creation involved many different universes and entities like the Elohim, Brahma, and the Sarim, who collaborated to bring about this master race. But this race is not lost, and it is not out of reach for us. It requires focus and self-awareness. Integrate your learnings into daily life. For instance, if you know the impact stress has on your genetic expression and overall well-being, practice techniques that reduce stress and remove that spiritual block. The Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT, which involves tapping specific points on the body while focusing on particular emotional issues, has also been studied for its effects on stress and anxiety. The repetitive tapping calms the amygdala and speeds up memory reconsolidation. The calming of the amygdala helps to reduce the body's stress response, which reduces the body's need to release stress hormones into your system. When that happens, you are allowing for a better, more clear mind-body connection free of anxieties and stress. Unburdened by stress, you have greater potential to unlock your 12-stranded DNA. You also have greater potential to unlock it if you surround yourself with higher vibrational beings, people who are equally focused on meeting and becoming their higher self, who want to break away from expectations and materialism and embrace their true power.
And your attention is your currency. Where energy flows, attention goes, it grows. So it's our choice. The more of us stop tuning in to mainstream media manipulation and fear tactics, we take our currency, our attention, and we focus it now. We're aware of what they're doing. We're aware. We're not ignorant. We're aware that they're trying to get us to fight each other. We're aware that they have bases all around the world that are running reverse frequencies. We're aware. But at the same time, we are aware, but we shift. Don't fight the system. Create a new one.
The process of deprogramming yourself won't be easy. You're actively choosing to sacrifice comfort, safety, and a normal life that ends with retirement. Unlocking your higher consciousness demands this sacrifice and facing uncomfortable truths. This includes dealing with people you don't like because we are here to challenge each other, to bring up emotions like anger so we might control our reactions and tap into the higher truth.
Honestly speaking, we're literally here to trigger the shit out of each other if we're being authentic. Because if it's a trigger, it's my anger, and I have to look at that, and I have to love that, and I have to forgive that, and find the origin of that, right?
In essence, unlocking your 12-stranded DNA boils down to 4 main steps: finding your focus, finding your sacred space, finding your community, and, most importantly, finding your control over your reactions. This process is not just about spiritual practices or emotional regulation. It's fundamentally about redefining the human experience at its core. This journey, while deeply personal, is also universally connected to the fabric of our shared reality. It transcends the individual, reaching back through ancestral bloodlines and forward into the future. It promises a time when we will be interconnected and bound together, no matter our backgrounds, races, or religions. The idea of activating dormant DNA strands symbolizes a transformation that extends beyond molecular biology and traditional science, touching on realms of consciousness, spiritual awakening, and human potential. It's a reminder that within each of us lies capabilities that, when awakened, can elevate our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. When you begin, keep in mind that this is a gradual process with many obstacles. both internal and external. But these are tests of resilience and belief. The changes may be subtle at first, but they accumulate, fundamentally altering your interactions with people around you. In unlocking your potential, you are participating in an age-old continuum of growth and ascension, playing your unique part in the cosmos.